على قدر يا موسى وقوله وفقدرنا فنعم القادرون وقوله إن الله على كل شيء قدير والآيات في هذا المعنى كثيرة. The Shaykh says in all of these verses we have mentioned that contain the pillars of Iman, all of them. The belief in divine decree is not mentioned. It was not mentioned. He said that is, and divine decree is included in the belief in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. This is because belief in divine decree is to believe in the decree of Allah, and this is mentioned in many verses that are particular to the decree, such as the statements of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, verse 49, Surah Al-Qamar, indeed all things we create with predestination. Also in the verses 2 and 3 in Surah Al-A'la, who has created everything and then proportionate, and who distant and then guided. Also in Surah Taha verse 40, then you came here according to the fixed term which I ordained for you, O Musa. And also in the ayah 23 of Surah Al-Mursalat, so we did measure, and we are the best of measure who measure the things. We are the best to measure the things. And also in the ayah in Surah Al-Baqarah verse number 20, certainly, or before that the ayah, that's the ayah of Surah Al-Baqarah, certainly Allah has power over all things. And there are many verses with this meaning. قال الشيخ حفظه الله والقرآن كما أشرت جاء فيه تبيان لهذه الأصول إجمالا وتفصيلا ولهذا عندما تقرأ القرآن تجد آيات كثيرة تتعلق بالإيمان بالله عز وجل وذكر أسمائه وصفاته وعظمته وأفعاله وآيات كثيرة تتعلق بالإيمان بالملائكة وأوصافهم وأعمالهم ووظائفهم وآيات كثيرة تتعلق بالإيمان بالكتب المنزلة وآيات كثيرة تتعلق بالأنبياء وقصصهم وأخبارهم وآيات كثيرة في وصف اليوم الآخر وذكر أسمائه وعلاماته وأوصافه وأهواله وآيات كثيرة تتعلق بالإيمان بالقدر. قال الشيخ ولهذا لا تكاد تقرأ في القرآن آية إلا وفيها ما يتعلق بهذه الأصول العظيمة التي يقوم عليها دين الله تبارك وتعالى. The Shaykh says the Quran, as I mentioned, clarifies these principles in general and in detail. For this reason, when you recite the Quran, and listen, this is subhanAllah, it's amazing. This has happened to those who reflect. You have to prepare yourself before you recite the Quran. You don't just recite and your mind is somewhere else. Choose the right time, the best time, somewhere when you're by yourself. You have the khushu', the tranquility. That's what's going to help us to benefit from the Quran. A greater benefit, not just by getting the reward by reciting it. He says, so for this reason, when you recite the Quran, you find many verses connected to belief in Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, mentioning His names and attributes, His greatness and His actions. And there are also many verses connected to belief in the angels, their descriptions, actions and tasks that Allah has assigned to them. There are many verses connected to belief in the revealed books. There are many verses connected to the prophets, their stories, and the information they brought. There are many verses describing the Day of Judgment, mentioning its names, signs, descriptions, and terror. May Allah protect us. Ameen. And there are many verses connected to belief in divine decree. So for this reason, you are almost not able to recite the Quran except that you recite a verse connected to these great principles that the religion of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is based upon. قال الشيخ هذا كله مما يبين لنا مكانة هذه الأصول وعظم شأنها ورفعة مكانتها وأنها أساس يقوم عليه دين الله تبارك وتعالى. He says, all of this clarifies the great status All of this clarifies the great status of these principles and the lofty position they hold, and they are the pillars that the religion of Allah is based upon. وفي حديث جبريل المشهور حديث عمر الذي مر معنا، حديث جبريل المشهور حديث عمر بن الخطاب رضي الله عنه لما سأل جبريل عليه السلام النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم عن الإيمان قال أن تؤمن بالله وملائكته وكتبه ورسله واليوم الآخر وتؤمن بالقدر خيره وشره. حديث في صحيح مسلم. The second hadith of Imam النووي. فذكر صلوات الله وسلامه عليه أصول الإيمان الستة التي يقوم عليها دين الله تبارك وتعالى. He said, as in the famous hadith of Jibreel, which is the second hadith in Sahih Muslim, the hadith of Umar, which is the second hadith in the 40 hadith of Imam al-Nawawi that we're studying with our brothers in Chicago, alhamdulillah. He said, in the famous hadith of Jibreel, the hadith of Umar ibn Khattab radiallahu anhu, when Jibreel alayhi salam asked the Prophet sallallahu about Iman, the Prophet sallallahu says, actually when he said, inform me about Iman, the Prophet sallallahu said to him, Iman is to believe in Allah, His angels, His books, His messengers, the day of judgment, and to believe in divine decree, the good of it and the bad of it. He says, so here, the Prophet ﷺ mentioned the 6 pillars of faith that the religion of Allah is built upon. That the religion of Allah is built upon. قال وفي السنة أحاديث كثيرة جدا تتعلق بالتعريف بالله عز وجل وذكر أسمائه وأوصافه وعظمته جل في علاه، وأحاديث كثيرة تتعلق بالملائكة وذكر أوصافهم وأعمالهم وأخبارهم ووظائفهم، وأحاديث كثيرة تتعلق بذكر الكتب وذكر الأنبياء عليهم الصلاة والسلام، وأحاديث كثيرة في وصف اليوم الآخر وأهوال يوم القيامة وأوصاف الجنة والنار، وأحاديث كثيرة في ذكر تفاصيل تتعلق بالإيمان بالقدر. قال فالسنة مليئة بالأحاديث التي تبين هذه الأصول العظيمة والأسس المتينة التي يقوم عليها دين الله تبارك وتعالى. The Shaykh says in the Sunnah there are a great number of ahadith and narration connected to knowing Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, mentioning His names, His attributes and His greatness. There are also many narrations connected to the angels, mentioning their attributes, actions, their tasks, and other informations about them. There are many narrations connected to mentioning the books of the Prophets ﷺ. There are many ahadith that describe the last day, the terror on the day of judgment. May Allah protect us and you ameen. And the description of paradise. May Allah make us from the people of paradise. And the description of the hellfire. May Allah protect us and save us from the hellfire. So there are narrations mentioning the details connected to belief in the divine decree. He says the Sunnah is filled, alhamdulillah, is filled with ahadith that clarify these great principles and strong foundations that the religion of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala is built upon. With this we come to an end. Alhamdulillah, we finished this introduction right on time. Alhamdulillah, tawfiq is from Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Right on time, alhamdulillah, we finished this introduction, and you see how beneficial this introduction is. Subhanallah, is amazing. All these great benefits, and that we should review and share with others and make sure that we read it or we listen to it with contemplation, with reflection, because these are foundations that the Shaykh has mentioned. These are the foundation of Iman. When you see the fruits that the Shaykh has mentioned about this, if he wants a pure life, a life of serenity, of tranquility, of ease in this life, if he wants the aid of Allah, the protection of Allah, if he wants to stay firm upon the path of Allah, if he wants to be upon guidance in everything we say, everything we do and we believe, then we have to strengthen these foundations. We have to strengthen these foundations, alhamdulillah. next week, inshallah ta'ala, next Sunday, we will continue bi'idhnillah, reading from the first pillar. Now, after this introduction, the Shaykh is gonna break down bi'idhnillah and explain each pillar from these 6 pillars of Iman. Inshallah. It will be nice if you read the book before the class, because it's gonna help you to alhamdulillah digest the information and process the information. If you read the chapter at least once, if not more than once, inshallah ta'ala, and then when you come to the class, you're already fresh, alhamdulillah, and ready to accept, alhamdulillah, and to digest the information, barakallahu feekum. As you know, subhanAllah, it would be nice if I was in person there with you, as we did in a few months before the pandemic, walhamdulillah. But qaddar Allahu ma sha'a fa'al. We believe in the qadr of Allah, the good and the bad of it. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to grant us all beneficial knowledge and that produces righteous actions. We ask Allah to remove these hardships from us, so that we can, bi'idhnillah, go back to the masajid and we can visit one another again. And seminars, alhamdulillah, will take place again. We can be able to be in a person with you, my dear brothers and sisters in Islam. Until next week, I make dua and ask Allah that you all be okay, and Allah protect you and preserve you and your families. Anyone who is sick, we ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to cure them. Anyone who may pass, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala have mercy on them. Barakallahu feekum. وجزاكم الله خيرا وصلى الله وسلم على محمد وعلى آله وصحبه وسلم تسليما كثيرا.